Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Hancock, Bollywood Humanist here. I watch a lot of Indian movies, and today I saw Padmaavat. I think that's how you pronounce it. It was great. I do, if you want to see it, it is a good movie. I enjoyed every bit of it, and it's definitely worth the price of admission. I saw it on the regular screen. I didn't see it in 3D, so I can't speak to that. But in terms of getting your money's worth for an entertaining movie, absolutely. Really enjoyed it. Really glad I saw it on the big screen. It's beautiful, as you would expect. And I like the ending too. And that kind of surprised me, knowing what the story was going in. I thought Bhansali did a great job of translating this story into a movie. I really do. So is it worth the money? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, it's worth the money. The actors are great. Deepika, of course, is great. As you've probably already heard, Ranveer Singh just eats up this character. This is probably one of his best performances, although we only get to see him dance a couple of times. Shahid Kapoor is quite good, but he's basically relegated to mooning over Deepika, so he doesn't have much to do except to look lovingly at Deepika. We don't even get to see Shahid dance, which is a bummer because he's really good, but we do get to see Deepika dance, and it's a gorgeous dance. You know, and apparently this dance was a little controversial, I'm assuming, but it's a really pretty dance and a really great thing to see on the screen. As far as acting goes, and costuming, really good. Shahid spends the movie in see-through tops, so he can see his body. Ranveer spends a lot of time half naked, and so we get to see his body too. And Deepika is in these gorgeous gowns. So all of them look great. They all are great actors. Deepika gets to dance, Ranveer gets to dance. And actually, it's interesting because I was so into Ranveer's dance that when he's, spoiler alert, shot with some arrows while he's dancing, I was really upset because I was like, how can you shoot Ranveer Singh while he's dancing? Who would do such a thing? Which is really funny because the girlfriend I went with, who's just getting into Indian movies, she said she had the exact opposite reaction. She thought Ranveer's character was so evil, she was really hoping he would die. And I'm sitting here going, oh, this dance is really pretty. This is so cool to watch it. Why is someone shooting him? Okay, so there's that. They look good in this movie. I think, though, the actors that should get a lot of credit are the supporting cast. And that's Aditya Rao, and I don't have pictures of them, but Aditi Rao Hidari, who plays Maranisa, was excellent. And I think, and we're going to talk about this a little bit, but I think her character, Maranisa, is the only one with a lick of sense in this movie. Anupriya, who plays Nagmati, who's Ratan Singh's first wife and first queen, Shahid Kapoor's wife in the movie. She's good. She's really good in this movie, but she doesn't really have much to do. She's pretty much absent during the movie, except, you know, at key moments. And she's got sense in her too. Even in her grief, what she says to do is actually the right thing to do. And again, I think one of the thoughts I had upon leaving this movie is it's entirely possible that women experience this movie very differently than the way men will experience this movie. And I think the storyline for me is really, really powerful. The woman's story through this, not specifically Padmaavat's story, because this is a story about Padmaavat, but how women respond to what the idiotic men in their lives are doing, I think it is worth discussing. And I really think there's a lot that we can discuss there. Now, the third person we kind of need to discuss is Jim Sarv, who plays Malik Kafur, who's Aluddin's #1 guy. Now, he's a slave, but he's also gay. He's openly gay. Aladdin's character doesn't appear to be, but he doesn't seem to have a problem with this guy, you know, being gay around him, right? And kind of telling him openly, "I'm in love with you," and Ranveer's like, "Whatever," and goes have relations with the girl. All right. I actually like that, and different people I've seen other reviewers who said, you know, they didn't like that part of it was why he was evil, but I don't think, to me, that wasn't part of Ranveer's character, Aladdin. That was just, there's this guy who happens to be gay, and historically that's what I understand was the case. I mean, we didn't even have a term for it in the West until recently, right? Some guys like guys, some girls like girls, and it wasn't sexual preference was a lot more fluid, and it was a lot more accepted that this would happen, and it wasn't considered gay in the way we consider it now, because it was just part of human sexuality, which is actually probably a much healthier way to view it. So the Malik Kafir character, as evil, as giddily evil as that character was, I actually enjoyed that there was a character like this in the movie, because there have always been people like that in society, and there always will be, because it's part of what it is to be human. There's, you know, nothing wrong with it. It's just normal human behavior. I already mentioned the dance. There's only a few dances in the movie. You got this one with Deepika, and it's gorgeous and worth seeing on the big screen, because, wow, there's a lot of gold thread in those costumes, and it really pops on the big screen. Ranveer gets a couple of dance sequences, really just one, and then another kind of odd thing that he does with Malik, but it's not really about Malik. It's about him, you know, preening for himself. But it's good. And I do wish there was more. Like, I love watching, and this is just selfish of me. It wouldn't have fit with the storyline, but it would have been nice to see Shahid dance. He dances really well. And like I said, I was really upset when Ranveer's character gets shot while he's dancing, because I was enjoying the dance sequence so much. As for action sequences, it is gorgeous. I mean, you can see from these things, they at some point they use trebuchets to attack the Chittagong fort. There's horseback riding into battle, and the action sequences are just really great, really great. So let's talk about the morality of it all, because now we know it's a good movie. It's gorgeous. The acting was great. The dancing that we got was great. The sound was great. The action was great. The costumes was great. It's everything you want from a big production like this. Let's talk about content. This is obviously Padmaavat's story. And one of the women in the bathroom when we left, because, you know, it's a 2 hour, 45-minute movie, and women go to the bathroom afterwards. You know, I asked people, you know, what did you think about the ending, and we all were moved by the ending, and but one of them made a comment, well, you know, this is a fictional story, and that was important for her. This is a fictional story, even though some of the characters really existed. This story is fictional, and I think she said that because of the controversy around it, and because people are kind of there's some riots going on, and people are getting violent because of a movie. It's a work of fiction, and her response, I think, is echoed in what the women in this movie are doing in response to guys thinking that they have to fight each other to see a woman, which is stupid in and of itself. And the older I get, the more I look at war and violence as just completely and totally pointless. All of these scenes of guys fighting other guys for honor and truth and justice, it's pointless. Said it out loud, it is pointless to me. And the older I get, the more I think that when I see these things, because let's face it, even if this was a true story, it's gone. These people are died anyways, and all that they worked for and all that they fought for and all, it's over. It hasn't, like, on the scale of human existence and, you know, cosmic existence, it's completely insignificant and irrelevant. they might as well have not done it. The outcome on the world is pretty much the same whether these people kill each other or don't kill each other. The rest of the world gets on just fine regardless of what these people do. So the older I get, the more I have this feeling when I watch these things is all this violence is just pointless. It's just pointless. And I think that's kind of what the women do at the end of this with this mass suicide. It's they're taking away the guys, the whole point of the guys being bad. You have all this, you have the battle, you have the siege, all this stuff is going on, they're fighting to the death, and all this is going on because a guy wants to see a girl. And then the girls take themselves out of the equation, and all of the violence that led up to that was completely and totally pointless and worthless. It didn't accomplish anything. All that violence they did not accomplish anything. It was pointless. And I think that's actually a really great lesson given how much violence has occurred because of this movie. And and everybody's like, this violence is pointless. And it is pointless. That's kind of the point. All this violence is pointless. Now, I did get teary at the end. My girlfriend was crying at the end. We were crying at the end. The women's decision to take themselves out of the equation, it was really emotional because you could tell, and I thought it was really well filmed because you could tell they didn't want to do it, but they felt like they needed to, given the behavior of the men. And yes, I do include the Rajput king in that because he was just as much to blame for the violence as anything else. This idea that, you know, women's honor is going to be destroyed because someone looks at her face is an absolutely ridiculous concept. It's a ridiculous concept. And you can't tell me that at the time it wasn't a ridiculous concept. Of course it's a ridiculous concept. It's always been a ridiculous concept. There's plenty of cultures around the world that have never had that concept. So it's a completely arbitrary concept, and it led to how much death? And the subjugation of women? You know, and I realize the story is about Padmaavat, but I think the hero is really Maranisa, who's the Sultan's wife, the Empress of India. Because all along, she's telling her husband, why on earth would you go to war just to see a girl? That's like the stupidest reason to go to war she could think of. And she tells him this, and he doesn't care because he's obsessed with seeing this girl. And all along the way, she's telling him, what you're doing is really stupid. There is really no reason to go to war for this. And he's like, oh, I gotta see this girl. Right? And all along, the Rajput king is, I have to protect the girl. We have to not allow, you know, these other people to see our girls. You know, like, that's stupid too. And then Nagmati at the end, after the Rajput king is kidnapped and taken to Delhi, she says, just give them Padmaavat. We can end this whole thing. No one has to die. Just let the guy have Padmaavat. And I'm thinking, yeah, that would probably fix this problem. And all the people who end up dying would not die. That would be it. That would be at the end of the siege, the end of the conflict, the end of everything. And yeah, we can say, well, you know, but her honor. You know, is her honor really more important than the lives of hundreds of thousands of people? I don't know. I mean, it's not my, you know, I'm a woman too. So, you know, I wouldn't tell a woman if she didn't want to go, then she shouldn't go. And that's Padmaavat's decision. She don't want to go. Right? But the reason she doesn't want to go has to do with honor less than the fear of it being raped. You don't get the sense that the problem for her is that she don't want to be raped by Alauddin. It's that her honor and the honor of the Rajputs is at stake. That's why she can't go. So I'm not sure I agree with Padmaavat's decision. I kind of agreed with Nagmati's decision, but I absolutely love the Maranisa character. She's the only person in this entire movie that seemed to have a lick of sense. She was the only one with the real courage to state the obvious that going to war to see a girl is really stupid. And she's the only one with the courage to really and truly stand up to the evil that was the Aladdin character. And she does it in a non-violent way, right? She just allows people to go free and takes the consequence on herself. She doesn't fight anybody. She doesn't kill anybody. She doesn't draw a sword. She simply does the right thing in an understated way and takes the consequences. To me, that's courage. So to me, the hero of this is not Padmaavat, it's Miranisa. So, but it's a really good movie. It brought up a lot for me. I thought it was an emotional movie. It's a gorgeous movie. And I think it's a story worth telling. And I think the moral lesson is violence for stupid reasons is really stupid. All right. See you next time.